Yo, YouTube, what's going on, y'all? First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you. We're almost to 100 subscribers. Like, that's major for me, bro. Like, I think we're at 99. Let's push us right over the line, man. Hopefully by the end of the night, maybe by Monday, I'll wake up to 100. Like, that's so major to me. Like, like I say, one is amazing. I've always had, like, so much love for just being able to connect with people and not have to worry about like the numbers or thinking about some things that don't really matter as much as what's really important is the connection. So I'm going to start off by saying thank you, everybody. Remember to like, subscribe, share, man. Sharing is caring. And if you're caring, you sharing. But you already know, y'all seen the title of the video. Y'all know who it is. Words by Waters, JB Waters. We are almost done with the Arthur website, y'all. I have my 3 books being released. I already have 2 out. Really, all 3 are available. It's just the website's not up, so I'm trying to go exclusively from my website based off of my own publishing company, 1888 House. But my first 2 books are already pretty much Target, Walmart, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, everywhere. But I'm trying to just do exclusively from my website so I can get more personal, get more connections with people, get more information just to learn more about people. Definitely. But the more the merrier. So yes, this is a good one. I ain't gonna lie. This right here is a good one because I'm still working on a lot of the things that I talk about, y'all. I'm working on them myself. So we're working together. You know what I mean? Like, we are working together. And that's the best part about, I think, doing what I do on YouTube and the topics that I come up with. And I'm done with the books for better living. I'm finally done with the book. I got to a point now to where I can really talk about it again and talk about how powerful it is. So y'all should see that now. Money, the made up thing, I'll be doing that next. But a lot of times when I come up with these topics that I come up with, they're things that I'm still learning and working on myself. So this one specifically is something that I'm really, really working on. But the fact that I've gotten better with it, it makes me feel so much more confident. Excuse me. It makes me feel much more confident. And I think it's important because a lot of times what we do is we're like looking for a sign. You know, you're looking for a sign maybe from the world, from somebody, a person, maybe your spouse, maybe your friend, maybe a family member. We're looking for validation. We're looking for validation on if we should do this thing that we know we really want to do in our heart. You know we really want to do in our minds. And we've come up with this, like, if I can have this version of my life and if my life can be like this, then I will feel like this. I feel like this when I'm doing this thing. You know it, like, you know, if you enjoy cooking, you know, if cooking just lights you up, you know, if you enjoy painting, you know, if you enjoy traveling, you know, if you enjoy eating out and trying different wines and cheeses. So if you know, if you love going and trying different flavors of hot wings or whatever it is, like, we all know the things that make us feel alive. And we all know the things that make us feel like life is worth living. But what we get caught up at is where we're waiting for something or someone to tell us that it's okay to like those things. It's okay to be that person. It's okay to do this. In reality, the only person that you need permission from is yourself. You don't need permission from anybody else. You don't need permission from the world. You don't need validation from the world. You don't need permission and a sign from the universe. If anything, the universe is waiting for you. The universe is telling you yes to all of the things that are really meant to be yours. And I talked about that before on my last video. Can't remember the last time. I'll tell you, when I get more time to get more into these videos, I will be loading up the descriptions with previous videos, but just go get lost in them, y'all. But like I said before, you do not need validation or permission from the universe for the things that is yours. And that's what we get confused with too. A lot of times we get upset because certain things that we really want aren't really meant for us. They're really not meant for us. So because they're not meant for us, we think that the energy that comes along with it is bad energy because we're forcing something. But for the things that are meant for you, the universe already wants you to have it. God already wants you to have it. Source, whatever you believe in, wants you to have these things. So you don't need to wait and just be like, like, is it okay to do this? Should I do this at the right time? If anything, just try it. And as soon as you try it, you will see if there's some resistance. You'll see if there's some pushback, and you will know. You will know. You will know. You'll know if you try once. You'll know if you try once. And if you try it, and then after you try it, something doesn't feel right, as in you feel like you gave up too quick. All of us feels that in the inside. All of us feel like even if we felt like we was going after something that was difficult and not necessarily saying we were forcing it, but we felt some level of resistance, we know when we're done attempting whatever it is that we want to go after, that we feel like will make us happy, make us free, make us feel accomplished. We know in our hearts, it's like, you know what? I could have did a little bit more. I could have went for 5 more minutes. I could have, did this 2 more times or 3 more times, or I could have stayed for, another day. So if it's not that, then that's just a level of effort and putting towards it and validating yourself even more and say, you know what, I do not need permission to feel good about myself. I don't need permission to want to go spend some money on myself. I don't need permission to be able to say, you know what, I want to try to go after a new job. I don't like this job. I want something new. But what we're doing is we're waiting for a certain sign that's just going to be like a sign from the sky. And it's like, oh, it might actually be something there. But you know what's even crazy? The signs that you're looking for might already be in front of your face too. Sometimes things are so close to you that you can't even see it, right? Like if I was to put my finger right here, so close. If I put my finger right here, I can't see the tip of my finger. But if I move it out farther and farther and farther and farther from me, then I can see it. Sometimes the things that we're looking for in life is so close to us that we can't even see it because we're looking past what's in front of us. And I feel that's what we do with a lot of things when it comes to our happiness and our freedom. Like you don't need permission to be happy. You don't need permission to be free. Just figure out in your mind exactly what that is. And I would say do reverse, go in reverse, go in reverse. As in, get rid of all of the things in your life that you make that makes you feel like it makes you happy and see how you would feel without it first. So say, my job makes me feel happy. Or if your job doesn't make you feel happy, like, all right, how would I feel without it? Like next time you're off, I challenge everybody. Next time you're not at work, whether you work on the weekend or you don't, but the next time you get a day off, spend at least a couple of hours, if you can. I don't know people's schedules. I don't know if you got kids. Once again, let me know where y'all at in the comments too, man. Let me know where y'all at. But once again, spend an hour, maybe 30 minutes if you got kids, you got a lot of things, and just sit there. Maybe in your car one day when y'all run your errands, you're not at work. Just think, like, I'm not at work right now. How do I truly feel? If I didn't go back to this job, how would I truly feel? Or maybe you just want to get out of a relationship and you're in the car, you're not with the person, you're not with your girl or your guy or, your partner, whatever. Ask yourself, like, wherever you're alone, you're not with them. Ask yourself, like, how do I feel right now? I'm not with them. What if I didn't go back to this person? What if it just ended right now? Like, truly, how would I feel? Beyond the level of missing them and the attachment and the being used to. Even with a job, it's like, oh, you got used to a job. You got used to your friends. You got used to the day-to-day. You got used to waking up every day. But ask yourself, how would you really feel if you were no longer doing that thing? And then if you end up saying that you know that you would feel happy without that, then there you go. Then you know that some level of your happiness and freedom is tied to that thing. And you don't need permission to break that tie. You don't need permission. Because we all have responsibilities. We all have things that we have to do, that we're obligated to do because of the choices that we made when we were younger. And most people, if you are an adult watching this, then you've lived long enough to understand that your life is the sum of the choices that you made to the present day. But even to the point where if you have responsibilities, your biggest and your greatest responsibility is taking care of yourself from the inside out, your freedom and your happiness. And I think that is so important for us to be able to be like, you know what? I don't need fucking permission to go after my goals. Like, cool, if you got a parent, if you're a parent and you work in a job and you're just doing what you got to do and you're holding it down for your kids and there's something else that you want to do, you want to sing, you want to write music, you want to be able to go do pottery or blow glass or do just anything. You want to be able to go to a different restaurant once a month. You don't need permission to do that. What we get messed up on is that we get lost on the road to how to do it. So first of all, give yourself permission to start the journey. That's the biggest step. Give yourself the permission to start the journey to be able to get towards that, whatever that thing is. It might not come overnight. It's not going to come overnight. But you know what? Like Jim Rohn says, he says you can't change destination overnight, but you can change direction overnight. So as in, if you want to go to said place, you can't get there overnight, but you will be able to go in the right direction to getting there. And overnight is just a figurative level of saying, of course, if you want to travel in a plane, you can get there in hours and all of that. But just saying the destination of where you want to get, it will take some time. But the choice that it takes to say, I want to go in this direction and never not go in any direction unless it's leading me towards this, that takes seconds to decide that. And really depending on how bad you want it, seconds or maybe even minutes if you wanted to meditate and kind of contemplate on it. But if I feel like if you got to contemplate on it too long for something that severe and drastic for your life, then it's really not something that you want. So I will stick to that first statement that I made, and I said it should take seconds to decide what direction you want to go in your life. So that's the first thing you can do. The first thing you can do to be able to allow yourself to no longer have to ask for permission to be free, to be happy, to be able to say, I no longer will be in this toxic relationship. I no longer have these habits. I no longer will lie to myself. I no longer will just sit in a dark place. I no longer will just not even figure out what's wrong with my life. Just give yourself permission to start. Give yourself permission to start, y'all. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing that I had to do. After I realized that I wanted certain things and I had to give myself permission and I didn't need permission from anybody else. That's the first thing. I had to give myself permission to start first. Give myself permission to start believing and start going in the direction of where I wanted to of where I wanted to be and doing what I wanted to do. I think the second thing that I've noticed is after you give yourself permission to start, it kind of goes hand in hand with this, is that the choice is yours. The choice is yours. All of the things that we're waiting on somebody else to give us a sign for, or we're waiting on validation from somebody else, and we're waiting for somebody else to give us this signal, it's our choice. So even if the signs were there, like I said, it's so close to you can't see it, it's your choice to want to be able to believe it and go after it or not. So at the end of the day, it all falls back on you. So if you're not happy, it goes back to you. If you're not feeling free, it goes back to you. If you're at a certain age, I get it. Like, I know life is tough, y'all. I get it. Life is tough. We've all been through some tough things, and I have nothing to hide. I'm truly transparent. We've been, since kids, I'm sure we all dealt with sexual abuse, molestation, pain, physical abuse, verbal abuse, just all these emotional problems and traumas that we have. People hating each other, people just judging each other, black versus white, white versus black, all just so much stuff, bro, so much. But even then, all of that stuff still does not negate the fact that if you are of a certain age, you have built the life that you built through your choices, and now the choice is yours, how it's always been once you become of age. Especially depending on your level, because there's people who are in their 30s and 40s and their mind just does not work right. They're sick. You know, some people might be mentally ill. Some people might be, mentally disabled and special needs. And that's that they really can't control their thoughts. They're sick and they need help. But for the people who are not in that group, it's even more of our choice to be able to take the responsibility to say, you know what, I'm going to step up and I'm going to make this choice. I'm going to make this choice happen because I know the choice is mine. And that's the second thing I realized. That was the second thing I realized. I gave myself permission to start and say, you know what, I'm gonna go after this no matter what happens. I'm gonna go after this no matter what. And then I start realizing that, you know what, the choice is mine. Whether I go after this or not, the choice is still mine. Whether I decide to move forward with this or not, I'm gonna put this Palo Santo behind here. It's getting a little too smoky. Whether I know that the choice, whether I go after this or not, the choice is still mine, y'all. So first thing, give yourself permission to start. Give yourself permission to start going towards the journey of the things that you desire, whether that's freedom, happiness, financial wealth, love and relationships, meaningful relationships, deep, honest relationships. And then secondly, understand that whether you decide to start or not is your choice and the power is up to you. And then I think the last thing I would say is give myself the permission to start. Realize that the choice was mine. And then really just believe. I just had to believe, that I think that was really the last thing I would say. I just had to really believe that it's possible. A lot of times we don't even believe that it's possible. Like we won't give ourselves permission because we don't even think that it's there. It's like, I can't give myself permission to open up the door and walk out there because in my mind, whatever's outside that door I'm looking for doesn't even exist. And it's crazy. It's because we live in a world where you can actually turn on the TV and see certain things. And I think it's kind of like a catch-22 almost. It's kind of like you can see it in somebody else's life and you can envy that person and you can feel sad because that person is having that life and you can see it and you can compare yourself and be miserable and be depressed because that's not your life. But then at the same time, you think that they can't be you. But it's like, if you can see it somewhat, it could possibly be you. Some things. Now, some things are just far-fetched and it's just not possible because that's meant to be those people's lives. Like I would never be able to shoot a basketball like Steph Curry. That's okay. Like, that's his life, and I'm okay with that. But the fact that it exists and somebody can shoot basketball that well, for the person who's meant to be somewhat like him and on his level, they have a visual idea. And I love to, I think about what I say a lot, and imagine a person that can't see him. So for somebody that's blind and want to be able to play music and hear like somebody, there's people out there that are magnificent composers and play piano very well, violinists that play top level masterpieces. And those people can actually hear and say, you know what? I don't know how to play the violin that well, but I can hear the inspiration because this person's exist. So that's another thing. We just have to be able to believe the things that we want to give ourselves permission to start actually exist. That's the worst thing. We always think the bad things can happen to us for the most part, but we rarely can think the good things can happen to us. And then when we think the good things can happen to us, we get overconfident on how to accomplish those things. That's one of the things, that's a whole nother level. I might say that for another video. Like we are overconfident on how much we can accomplish once we think we can accomplish something. Which is okay, because it's like, well, I'd rather be starting something and feeling like I can do it than just sitting on the sideline watching it and like, oh, I can't do that. So shouts out to all those people who are overconfident. At least you in the motherfucking game. So I would definitely say believing. Believing is like what really got me to the part where I'm like, man, and that's why I watch so much motivational stuff. That's why I'm who I am for everybody else, because I'm just like, I'm trying to be the person that I wish I had. I want to be the man that I wish I had. I want to be the person that I wish I had in the world, because I do have them. I might not know a lot of these people, and there's people who I do know who changed my life drastically because of who they are. And then there's people who exist who changed my life, and I've never met them, but they exist, so I believe, because I see it. It's like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it too. And you'll get started down the road, and you'll go back down. You realize, like, all right, that thing's not for me. But at least you tried. At least you started. At least you believed. So that's what I would say, y'all. Free yourself. Give yourself permission to be free. Give yourself permission to be happy. Nobody else, you don't need anybody else to tell you yes. You don't need anybody else to say, okay, this is okay, you can do that. Because I think a lot of times that's what we're waiting on. We're just waiting on somebody to pat us on the back and say, go, you got this. And of course, we all need some type of support. You need a support system. You physically cannot do this alone. And I say physically as in this presence of being a human being to become successful, you physically cannot do it by yourself. You need reinforcements for your mind, for your heart, for your spirit. You need reinforcements financially. But at the exact same time, you don't need anybody to say, this is okay for you to do, go after this, I approve. You don't. And I think a lot of it has to do with us being kids, and it has to do with us being children and not having that support system that we needed and support system that we wanted. You know, even after that happened to me, and I love my mama so much, and you may see this one, you may not. But like, even for me, it was hard, like, you know, because a lot of tragic stuff happened to me before my mom got married. So it was already kind of too late, you know, once my mom finally got married. And you know, my stepdad, who was my dad, you know, he raised me, so he's my dad. But it was a lot of trauma that I still face, you know, before then, y'all. I had a lot of trauma, a lot, like between being born and all the way up to 8 when I got my stepdad and actually had a father figure in my life. You know what I'm saying? Consistently. That was already 8 years, you know, and that was like a lot happened in 8 years of my life. So, in just a small amount of time, from 5 to 8, a lot happened. And there's things, you know, so I think a lot of things that happen is in our childhoods when we're looking for support, when we're looking for assistance, when we're looking for that extra level of, you can do this, you know, and we're looking from it, we're looking for it from certain people. And as a kid, you know, that's what you need. And as an adult, that's what you still need as much. So it's a little bit harder to tell a kid, oh man, you don't need that support. You got this. But it's like, we all need that support, especially if if that support was not reinforced when we were children, when we needed it the most. And then when you get older and the world really not caring for you, you're like, damn, I didn't have support when I was a kid, man. Like, what the fuck? Can I get a break? And then you just give up on the world. You start going into a dark place. You start not thinking people love you and people don't care about you, and you start thinking you're alone, and then your goals and the things that you believe and the magic that you used to believe in when you was a child starts to dwindle and starts to fade away. And you start to fade away the same as much as your dreams start to fade away. But I'm here to tell you that you can do it. You don't need the validation. You need the support, you need the love, but you don't need the validation. Sorry, y'all. I didn't realize I had this. I was doing some bank straps, and I just had the bank straps out. I know y'all be catching me on camera with these. But honestly, yes, seriously, that, like, to me, like, it's near and dear my heart. I don't like to, you know, I don't want to beat around the bush and keep saying I feel like I got my point across. But yeah, I really, really think once you understand that you don't have to wait on a single person to tell you that it's okay to move forward, that it's okay to set boundaries up with people, to tell people no. That might be a whole journey in itself. That might be a whole goal in itself for some people. Man, this year I want to say no to more people. You know, or this year I want to say yes to more things that are opening up to my life. You don't need permission to tell people no and to say no this year, y'all. You don't even need my permission to tell you don't need permission. Hell, it sounds like I was giving you permission for this as we speak it. So, but yeah, hopefully this helped y'all. Like I said, I don't like to just get long-winded. Brevity, I know people's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, but hopefully, you know, it's worth the watch. Like, subscribe, share, man, please. Be able to take the time if you can. Go ahead and click that notification button, click that bell, click that thumbs up. You know, and being able to share this, man. Go tell somebody else too that you know, like, man, you know what, girl? You don't need permission. You do not need permission to lead that guy. You don't need permission to lead that girl. You don't need permission to lead that job. And the same thing for the fellas. Fellas, you don't need permission. You don't need permission to be able to stop chilling with that homie or stop chilling with that girl or break up with that guy or break up with that girl if that's what you into or whatever you got going on in your life. You know, the choice is yours. So remember, y'all. Give yourself permission to start. If you don't know where you want to go, if you don't know how to get there, just give yourself permission to start. Once you give yourself permission to start, just realize that the choice to start is yours. And then once you realize the choice to start is yours, after you gave yourself permission, just believe that it's possible. After you gave yourself permission and you gave yourself the permission to make the choice, and believe that it's possible. Believe that what's on the other side of the door, that you're no longer getting permission, and you're giving yourself to open a door, that everything is on the other side of the door and everything is already inside of you. So like I said before, much love. Thank y'all as usual. Like, subscribe, share. But yeah, be well, man. Stay conscious, stay well, be conscious. Until next time, man. And once again, thank you for my 99 followers, subscribers. Much love. And remember to write your world to existence. Waters.